Dragon Ball. I mean, the original series. Everyone knows Dragon Ball Z, but we're talking about the OG. Young Goku with a tail. It's a show at its best when almost everyone is only caring about fighting and becoming stronger. Like, there's legit times where people's lives are in danger, and the heroes, they will do the right thing, and they will save them, and there will be talks in the show about being a good person. But they'll be saying how they need to prove themselves and test their strength. And it's generally cool watching characters grow and get stronger throughout the series. At surface level, I guess it can seem cringe when a character says, "I'm going to do the move." "No, you can't do the move, it's too powerful." "I did the move." But there's a level of consistency in the powering up. From Goku doing a small Kamehameha and burning all of his energy in like the first few episodes, to then shooting beams one-handed to like propel himself at enemies later on in the series. And from that, it's cool seeing how the fights evolve throughout the series. From, I don't want to say slow, but characters just being more stationary when they fight with kicks and punches and gimmick moves, to later on when they're flying around shooting nukes out of their bloody hands. And Goku's no idiot. Well, no, wait, scratch that. Goku's a complete idiot. But there's so much Western media where characters just fight by standing there hitting each other. Here, it's cool seeing characters talk about how a move won't work, or tricking each other, sometimes with dumb shit, and talk about power reserves like it's a video game. The budget does affect the fights, but kind of in a good way. Hear me out. This ain't Attack on Titan where it took 10 years to make 94 episodes. No, this stuff was being released on a weekly basis for like 3 years. Obviously, each episode took more than a week to make. They were working on multiple episodes for months at a time, but you can see how they managed their resources. Characters will talk about how they're going to do a move. An opponent will just stand there for a couple of minutes doing nothing, so they can power up. But it's the vibe of the show, of characters wanting to fight each other at their full strength to prove themselves. And it happens so much that the one time Goku interrupts a power up, you're literally staring at the screen thinking, wait, that's illegal. Side note, and you want to remember when Ruby was still good? There's a scene in season 5 where there's a bunch of powerful characters fighting, but they didn't really have the time or the budget to do the fight justice. And okay, there's some cool moments, and you know it took a lot of skilled people a lot of time to make. However, shit is going down and people are just standing there in their idle poses, doing nothing. And then you'll just see people get winded by a couple of hits, and half the team just kneel there watching them while the fate of the world hangs in the balance. It just feels off, because you've already established how skilled these characters are and the stakes they're fighting for. Why are they all acting like this? But you get to the end of Dragon Ball and Goku saying shit like, "Let me 1v1 the guy who wants to take over the entire planet." And you're watching just thinking, hell yeah, King, you get him. There'll be a line about how no one else can help because of how fast Piccolo is, and you believe it, because I've already established how fast these characters can move. You're just along for the ride watching these badasses just kick the shit out of each other. So it gets pretty serious towards the end, but it starts much lighter, and there is a change in vibe throughout the show. Like, it starts off as a gag anime. Earlier on, Goku extends Niobu and puts guys on the moon. They don't address it, but presumably they would suffocate and die. But then later in the first Tenkaichi tournament, Jackie Chun blows up the fucking moon and everyone acts like it's nothing. And then in the second tournament, he admits that they have surpassed his power. But you see powerful attacks wipe out the stadium and later mountains, with everyone acting surprised at how powerful the move is. So what the fuck was the Kamehameha that blew up the moon? Is the moon made out of fucking paper? It's fine because it's a vibe. There's a tongue-in-cheek feel, and it's helped with the narrator as well. There's a few 4-4 breaks. But yeah, there's just a cool feel of everyone, especially Goku, becoming more powerful as the show goes on. And you're literally getting excited like a child when a character does a new move or tanks a hit. You do hit a point where you realise that's a formula, and it can break the immersion a bit. Like, it's so fucking cool when you realise that Goku is literally strong enough to take out an entire army. But then it goes straight into him fighting demons and undead, which are more powerful. And then the second tournament, which is bloody fucking amazing by the way, where he's fighting guys like Ten, who's a great addition and a new rival. And then you go up against Piccolo Daima, who's on a whole nother level. It's like the moment he beats someone on his power level, someone else is introduced. But yeah, you do expect it as that show where there's always a new power level. And it's kind of a cool moral: never stop training, never stop improving. It feels earned. Goku goes from training under Roshi to training in the upper world, characters who feel like gods. But then you get to the point where Goku is just defeated in battle and people just leave him for dead. And then suddenly 5 minutes later it's like, oh look, his heart just started working again. Plot armor does come in pretty handy at some points. I also haven't mentioned the plot at all. It starts off as a fun adventure about collecting Dragon Balls so a wish can be granted. And the wishes we're talking about is literally Bulma wanting a boyfriend and Yamcha wanting to talk to women. You know, it's a gag anime and that's the vibe of it all. And why Pilaf, that little blue annoying fuck who I wish would just die by the end of it all. Well, Pilaf wants to take over the world. There's just a fun vibe of adventure. Going off to far off places of the world, encountering strange characters, fighting cool monsters. You see people from different cultures and backgrounds. Towers that reach into the clouds. Cat gods and Frankenstein monsters. Maybe early on it feels more like a kid's show, which I guess it is, but it's still fun. Yeah, it's fun, but the show does feel slow at first. Like, I remember just watching episodes here and there when I was bored or I had like 20 minutes to kill, and the Red Army plot does feel like it goes on for too long, especially with General Blue. But then you get to that second Tenkaichi tournament, and this is where the show changed for me in terms of the quality of the fights and the stakes. Shit gets real and it picks up. I went through the last third of the anime so quickly compared to the first 2/3. This probably has something to do with the fact that they changed the writers and producers of the show, and it's where it starts heading in the direction of Dragon Ball Z. I do think the show will be slow for some people, especially those expecting DBZ quality. You could just watch the tournaments for the cool fights, and if anything sticks, then go back and watch the rest. Or if you're prepared for a fun, childish, at some points adventure, then start at the beginning. But don't take some parts too seriously, because you know the creators are just having fun. I just want to get into some side notes now, some stuff I haven't mentioned yet. A lot of people in the West grew up watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in English. When I gave it a go, I went for the subs. Especially because I know how much they change for the English version. I wanted the true experience.
You prude! Funny for a big guy, you sure scare easy.
Okay, bad example. They don't call him that in the subs, which takes me on to the other stuff. This show was fucking wild, yo. And it hits you with some crazy shit right within the first few episodes. It was Japan in the 80s. I'm not gonna virtual signal like a Twitter user. I think most people can look at that, no, it's not acceptable behaviour, and move on. It's also nice having a show where characters actually physically grow. There's time skips that allow for it. Seeing Goku start off as a kid and ending the series as an adult, looking back, it's so funny how Kuririn just started off as literally like a smug head the size of his whole body, and grew up to be, well, a little bit taller. I haven't mentioned anything about the creation because I didn't want to just parrot other vids. But yeah, the manga was made by Akira Toriyama in the 80s after the success of Dr. Slump. Loosely based off Journey to the West, like in early drawings, Son Goku literally was a monkey. And from what I've heard, the reason why he loses his tail at like multiple times was because of how much it was a pain to draw, especially for a weekly manga. Stuff like that is always just so interesting to hear. And also a reason why you shouldn't take the show too seriously sometimes. Just start at the beginning and have some fun as the show slowly progresses to cool martial arts. And the focus on martial arts is because Akira would watch martial arts movies, particularly ones with Jackie Chan whilst writing and drawing the manga. Which is why you get characters like Jackie Chun. I'm going off on a tangent here, but there's no true thing as an original idea. It's always cool seeing how your favourite show, movie, game takes inspiration from other pieces of art and just creates new things with it. And there's loads of things inspired from Dragon Ball, like Super Saiyan Sonic and other stuff. I don't know, I don't watch enough anime. I remember reading the comments on Crunchyroll and sometimes people would not shut the fuck up about Naruto or One Piece. Now comments are disabled. And One Piece has like over 1,000 episodes, bro. Just let me get through DBZ first and then we'll talk.